Right then, on to some interesting Amarok stuff now. We've done all the servicing, that were annoying, but anyway, we're messing about with wheels and tyres now. So as you can see, these are not standard. So that's the standard wheel that will fit to this car from factory, which it's a 255, 55, 19, which these seem to be quite popular, these wheels. So these will be for sale shortly when we've fitted them. General Grabber AT3s, which are considered one of the better all-terrain tyres. They're probably not the most aggressive looking, but they're considered one of the better ones. And the main thing, they're pretty good in the wet, which is a big deal if you're doing more road than off-road. Because a lot of these all-terrain and mud-terrain tyres are just crap and wet, which is not what you want when you're going to be 7 tonne. So this is the tyre we want, but although based upon the axle weights we're going to be going for, these tyres are absolutely fine. You've got whatever it is, 111 load rate in there, which will put up what that actually is in kilograms and pounds. I can't remember off the top of my head, but there's plenty of reserve there, even if we're at full capacity. When I drove the car fully laden, probably a little bit overweight at times, when we're messing about with the rear air suspension and the handbrake stuff, it was squashing the tyre quite a bit, even when it were at full pressure. So I just thought, I want to get something a bit bigger than that, so it meant going up in size. So what we've ended up doing, which this is what Will did, not the exact same tyres, but Will at Wabtec, who's helping us with a 7 tonne conversion, he'd gone for this staggered setup, which we've got here, which we'll go into in a minute, but with some different tyres. It's very difficult to find tyres that have got good load rating and they're staggered in this way, so that the overall rolling diameter, rolling circumference, whatever, is identical, because you can't have different tyres front to rear on these. So the wheels are off a BMW X5, which these are scabby and horrible and need a refurb, but we're going to probably do them black, so it doesn't really matter. This is just for test fitting. We've gone again for the General Grabber AT3s. Like I said, we liked them. These are brand new, so they've got quite a bit more tread. These have been on 40,000 miles, 50,000 miles, whatever it's done with these. Maybe they've been changed in between, I don't know. But plenty of extra tread on these. And this on the front is a 275/55 and the 20-inch. But they've got an 117 load rating, which is quite a bit bigger, which again, we'll put it up on screen so it makes more sense. But then the rear, we've gone for 305/50/20, and that's an 120 load rating. So we've got quite a bit more load capacity. We aren't running anywhere near to what the tyres can take, which is pretty good. A lot wider, should be tons better when we're running at capacity, because the idea with this truck, it's going to be running at capacity a lot. So the rear wheels fit pretty well. There's a little bit, I don't know if you can see from where you are there, but I can get my hand in between the spring, so that's not too big of a deal, and in theory it should all be moving together, so we'll keep an eye on that. And we've got a bit of poke, a little bit of poke on the arches, but the tread's not sticking past the arches, so we should be alright come MOT time. And then the front, we could stick out a bit more, and we're very close to the front arm here. So if you see it, we're pretty close to that, which it's not going to touch it, but it's closer than I want it to be anyway. So we're going to stick this out probably 10 or 15 millimetres, something like that. We'll poke them out a little bit more, and that should bring us in line to how much poke we've got at the rear. So overall, really happy with how this looks now on these. It'd be really nice when the wheels are black and a little bit more poke on the front. I would have liked to have gone for something a little bit more aggressive looking, but that's going to come at a fuel expense, wet grip expense, and this is not really going to see the off-road too much. It might do the odd green lane here and there, but me and Scott's going to have a car each to be doing that sort of stuff anyway. We don't need to be taking this. So that should be pretty good. Really happy. So the next thing that we're going to do, so I'm going to take these wheels off and send them off for powder coating now, but the next thing we're going to do while we wait for them is the front Bilstein lift kit, which we've put together, which should be pretty good, and then the upgraded rear shocks, because the rear shocks on this, one of them looks a little bit damp, so we'll put them on. And these are sort of lift rear shocks rather than lowering shocks, you know, they're a little bit longer than the standard ones rather than being shorter. Not sure by how much, which when I pop them off, I'll check how much difference in the closed and the open length that there is. But these should work pretty good. The main thing that we wanted to achieve by fitting these, obviously better damping because they're stiffer. And if you look at the difference front to rear, we've got at the ride out rate at the minute 99 and sort of 91 centimetres, so you've got like 80 millimetres ish there or thereabouts that we need to come up on the front to even it out. Because we've got the rear air ride kit, the rear's not, even at full capacity, is not going to lower that much. So we're probably not going to get it absolutely perfect. I don't want to lift it a full 80mm on the front, but to get them a bit near, I might have a sort of 20mm rake or something like that, depending on how high these actually go. Don't want to go too high on the front because then when you put the weight in the back, it'll squall a little bit and then you'll end up with light steering. So there's a reason why they put more on, but we've got the air assist. So we'll see. Obviously it's a coil of a front strut, so we can lower it and raise it to suit. So when we've got the back load and the trailer on, if it's absolutely squashing the back down and the front's really high, then we can tweak it to suit. So let's see how much footage we get from doing this. I've never done this before, so the rears will be easy. The front's probably not so much. So we'll get that sorted. We've got a ton more suspension stuff to do, but we're going to do it in stages. We've got anti-roll bars, bushers, different arms and stuff like that. But we're going to do it, we'll just do the struts to start with, and then we'll do the other stuff, and we'll try and get some road testing in between, because I don't want to be telling people you need everything when some of the stuff can probably make the ride a little bit harsher and stuff like that. So we'll see. Let's get it on. We'll go from there. Surely I've got them all now. This is just unnecessary now. What are these arch liners made out of? Jesus! Oh my gosh! This ain't happening very easy. Defeated by an arch liner, look. I'm not looking forward to putting that back in. I've got it. Big arms.
Shafts are not feeling light.
Right, cheers dude.
And then that's where I usually put that top.
So, dry shaft, strut out as one. So you're going to do that together. You could undo that one if you wanted to, but I needed to make sure they were loose anyway because we've got a new arm coming at some point. But that's that. So undo dry shaft, undo all that, pull it down, and then just make sure that ain't dangling on these wires and pipes because that will get expensive. So leave that there. Let's get this top mount off. So we've got this loosely built up now. They're aligned here. Hopefully this camera angle's alright. So from that edge to there, I've got 590. From that edge to there, about 610. So we're about 10mm lift at pretty much the lowest setting. So these are going to work pretty good. So we'll build it up as it is now, and then we'll lift it while it's on the car, 'cause it's not easy to manoeuvre this in. I think that's what's good about having this coilover set, 'cause if you had like a 2-inch lift kit or whatever already, then we'd be struggling. But this is a little bit stiffer spring as well, so even though it's only 10mm higher now, it might only it might actually lift us a little bit more than that, but we wanted to go quite a bit, so we'll set it so that's got 15mm or so there. I'm going to lift that up another 50. I'll lift that up 50mm, then we'll drop it and see where that takes us. Oh, there we go. This is going to be a job, Owen. Getting all this back in. So I'm going to try and get this and this in together, which is easier said than done. Oh, just nearly dropped my on my toe. That'd have ruined my day, wouldn't it? Isn't it funny how stuff's that hard to get in, but it's that easy to fall out? It's like... Right, that's in. So, I don't know where the proper Bilstein tool is, but I've got this one from Nitron, and that goes in there nicely. Okay, I don't line that up, just need to get over one. So we said we've got like 15mm there, roughly. I'm going to take that up to 65. Why are these so tight? Oh my goodness. Oh God, that ain't right. That is not right. Bit of home turf. Absolutely brilliant. It's unnecessary, shape of this arch.
Oh, I know.
Oh dear. Where's it meant to go? You f***. Oh! Why is it going in? It's like it needs to go up, but it can't go up because there's no way for it to go. Ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous how tight they are to get in. So adjusting these up, I've ended up damaging them a little bit because they're really stiff. Not sure if it'd be easier to adjust it up and then try and get it in later, but it were a pain before. So we've adjusted it up as much as we can get it without compressing the spring, but we'll see how it sits. If it's still too low, then we're obviously going to have to compress the spring, jack this up, and away you go. But we're at the point now where when you're going over a bump, you're going to be bottoming out, or topping out all the suspension, so you're going to end up with something binding up somewhere. I'm not sure what's going to bind up first, but we'll see. So we'll get the rear shocks done and we'll see how we get on. So rear shocks should be easy. Oh. Oh, you absolute. So, dodgy bolt on end there made that absolutely painful, but I'll find a new one, that's not a big deal. So, old strut, new strut. Pretty much the same length. Just check that they're not going to extend anymore. Yeah. So if anything, that one's a little bit shorter. Let's see. Oh, it's definitely stiffer though. Oh, the factory one easily goes down. You can't really see from there, but I'm going to have to do one at a time. So, close length, it's getting longer as we do it. It's like 380. Oh, I don't know if I get this all the way down. Oh God, it's going. Yeah, 400, so they're nearly good, aren't it? Same length, just not quite. But you see this one's a little bit easy to see when it's extended. Try and get the camera down. Come on, it's a bit damp. It's not in good nick, so get the new one fitted. I'll go from there. I think I'll try and find some new bolts for both of these. So the chest cam's died. Just finished rear shocks, looking sweet. Had to put some new bolts and nuts in on bottom, and new bolts on top, a bit short on nuts, so I just used 2 Aldens, but not too hard to take off. These are no good, so we probably, if we're going to sell these kits, we'll sell them with some new bolts there for that, to help people out. So literally only one size nut required, and that were 18mm, but I needed long spanner, normal spanner, ratchet, deep socket, shallow socket, wobbly, extension, and a big ratchet. Probably, if I only had to have a couple of tools to do this, I'd probably want that and a normal spanner, and then I'd see what I could do, but that made it all easier and harder. So Matt at Colour Magic's got the wheels sorted. I just got him to fit the tyres on loosely, just so that we could transport them back without scratching them. So yeah, really happy. I didn't want to pay the extra that it cost to get them fully refurbed and all the little chips filled in and stuff, so they've just had a blast, couple of bakes. George's introduction as usual. Hopefully you can still hear me. So yeah, they'll look good, they'll do exactly what we need to do. Next job, get them fitted, and we're going to get some centre caps machine to cover them gaps up, because the BMW ones are a lot bigger. So we need to fit the front spacers, which these PCD, they're on eBay, they're a company that's local to us, so they'll help me out if you need any spacers. We've just got some spigots, longer bolts for the front, and these are tapered, and then some different bolts for the rear, which I've had to pinch these from the transporter wheels, but anyway, and some tapered locking wheel bolts as well. So we'll get these fitted and then we'll go from there. So the wheels are on. I think they look pretty good. Not 100% sure whether we need to go for some arches or not. I think they probably stick out a little bit. Not as much as I thought they would on the front, and to be fair, we have got a bit of positive camber that we need to get rid of, so maybe when we do that, we'll tuck them in. But I think the main place we want to look at it, ignore the fact that parking sensors fell out, we've got some stuff to sort in that respect. But yeah, I think the main look that we're going for is the front. I think it looks pretty chunky. I'd like to add a 285 on the front, but that wouldn't have got the rolling radius the same as the 305 on the rear. So yeah, really happy. Just need to go for a drive in it now. So if this is the end of the video, thank you for watching. Anything you need to know will be in the description. And yeah, we'll try and reply to everybody's comments, or at least acknowledge them anyway. So if you want to know, ask us.